Hello again, everybody. Welcome back in. They made me do it. They've made me do it. They actually asked me to go ahead and put two compositions together to deal with this exaggeration of a boss. It was something that I slapped together at the last minute because I was being told that the guild was almost there in terms of taking him down. So as you can see here, I actually waited to collect the rewards because I do want to see what the extra rewards entail and if it was worth it, because it was a mad scramble to try to get optimal scores here. And why not at the same time, at least I can show you with this account and the heroes that I did have, what I could put together to at least help the guild bring this boss down. And, you know, given how tuned it was, I was okay just getting that 40,000 silver chest. So I pumped out as much damage as I could and then let the rest of the guild do whatever it needed to be done, especially if they had the heroes that were necessary for this content. So first thing, before I can show you the teams, I have to collect the rewards for the week. So let's go ahead and do that. And you can see here is just a fine chest. So I'm not getting anything too extravagant, but we're kind of getting some decent rewards out of it. We got 2 ancient summoning crystals. I did get a refining crystal, so at least I can work on my just standard gear if I need it. I did 2 artifact essence, at least for the chest. I guess that's okay. And we did get an evolution gem, so it's something at least that I can look to see if there's something that I can evolve in terms of gear. And apparently we can get anything from a 2 to 5 here. So, all right, that's interesting. And then when it comes to the extra reward, so here is what really I think was getting the guild to get me to push on this and try to help them out. So here we go. The hints of the transmutation gems here are coming in. So before you go on and start typing in the comment section, yes, I learned later that the first time you bring Zerbus Matrix 1 down as a guild, the game is coded to automatically give you a transmutation gem. So if you and your guild want to work to get it down the first time, you're going to get one. In my estimation then is if you're in the guild where everybody can, you know, push that 60,000 range, maybe you can work on bringing it down. We did, because there were a couple of goof ups with gearing, because some players did start doing one phase without gearing the other team at the same time. Then they missed out on some of the damage. But I do think that maybe if everybody does around 60, 70,000, maybe you can all bring them down and try to score something big like this. So I'll take, for the effort that they asked me to put into this, okay, I'll take this one. But I'm going to tell you right now, I'm not holding a whole lot of promise that I'm going to get the substat that I want on a particular piece, but I'll have it. At least I'll get that one chance to re-roll it. So we're going to claim that. We'll add it to the account. And now for next week, at least we have something ready to go in case we do want to push for it. Here's my account. I'm going to give you the overview, essentially, as to when I was talking to, especially those that have spent a lot of hours running this boss, as to what I could possibly put together with the roster that I have. I may have made no secrets of this. I really have stopped spending on the game, and it kind of has caught on. All right. So in terms of the heroes, at least for the esotericists, the one that I was missing, that everybody thought really was going to be a central player for something like this, was Cyrus. All right. So Cyrus has not dropped into my account even since the start. So that was one of the heroes that I was missing. In this instance here, I had to settle for having Morrigan instead of Demi. Some people prefer to use Demi for this case, especially when it comes to the cultists here. I do have Beatrix, so at least we're going to have an opportunity here to take advantage of this. Morrigan did well, at least for what I needed her to do when they were asking me to push past the 50,000 threshold, so at least she was able to do that. And also here I have Bizzlebub and Carnelian. Now, because I locked Cyrus, we decided to use the Ezran cheese, and he is the one that is going to tank things up. And so my whole task, especially towards the end of the run, it was just trying to keep him alive as much as I could. And since I did have Alara, at least I benefited from that as well. And bringing Elwyn, you know, rage boosting, and we have inspiration here from the Reza, AoE damage reduction. That's essentially what we're going for. When it came to the Spellbane Form, where I needed physical damage, that's where the account is really struggling. Okay, so some of the heroes right away that they were asking me to look for were Draylin, because they wanted me to use her to absorb the damage, and of course I don't have her. Niza is a big physical damage dealer here that we could have possibly used if I had her. Erling, again, I don't have that hero, so that was one of the lackings. So yeah, it was kind of splitting hairs trying to put something together here. This one here, 15,000 was really the maximum that I could do because of King Hars. It was really hard for me to keep him alive once he started getting that. Now, the unfortunate part of settling with a composition like this, especially with Iowa and Nyx, is that there really was no way to really prevent the boss from absorbing all the waves coming in. And that's what hurt me in the end. But maybe there's something else that I can toy around here, given that we have the healers. And Sadie here, listen, we brought her in because we wanted to try to keep King Hars together. When we started doing the math and we said, I think I got enough damage to at least help the guild take it down, we settled for that. So let me see here if I can just quickly run this. I'm just going to let it auto because I know I don't have to save the key, but at least give you an idea of how I put this thing together. And at least for this form here, with the AoE damage here. So as you can see here, I'm putting Beelzebub here with, so let me see if I can pause this. So essentially it's Valera here with Beatrix just taking care of this side. And what I was trying to do was trying to alternate their ultimates as much as I could. Here I have Ezran with Carnelian. So Carnelian is going to provide the protection here. And Ezran is going to tank that single strike hit that the boss is going to do. So the goal here is to try to make sure that he can stomach that. But for that reason, I have him facing south. I have him facing down because I want him to self-heal, all right? Especially when that ultimate pops off, especially, and get protection from Cornelia here. On this side of the map, on the right side of the map, you'll see that I did have Morrigan and Magda pretty much tried to take care of that side with Venoma. Venoma was not the ideal hero to use in this. You have to understand that. And we have to concede to that. But unfortunately, that's the only esotericist lore that I have in this account. So we had to use it. So here, again, as you're going to see those single strikes come in, it's Ezran that is tanking it. He is the one that I'm using to tank all of this. And so here, I'm just hoping that Morrigan and Magda can do enough to just bring this side down, Valera and Beatrix to do here, this damage here. So we tried different runs, right, to kind of swap heroes around or switch the DPS. It's just to see which one provided me the best result. And this year, at least for that particular day, we just we let this ride. And so at least with the roster that I have, this is the composition that I decided to go with, and we just let it run. So I'm now auto. I'm not going to trust it because funky things happen when this is going at 3x speed or 2x speed, whatever it is that is on right now. And so we'll just let it go and see exactly how much it does by itself without interference. But I can tell you that at least for the run that I submitted last week, it was 55-ish, 54, 55. So we called it decent and we let it go. Okay, so this is the unfortunate part of the auto run, but it kind of you kind of get the idea of how it actually went out. But as soon as Ezran came down, everything fell apart. So 41,000, at least I got there. Okay, I got past that threshold. to at least get me that chest. And so this is what I went with here. So the next step up is 100,000. And so I think that that could come with either adding the heroes that I mentioned previously into this composition and getting those heroes into this account, or hopefully get the heroes that I need for the physical damage turn to try to get this. But the idea here would be then for me for the next time to pull, I take it out of auto in this range, in this 40,000 range, and then work to try to make sure that Ezrin stays alive as long as he can. And then quickly here, let me go over the this Spellbane form of the physical form team, just to kind of give you an idea of how I laid this out to at least get the 15 or so, 14 or so that I needed. I couldn't auto run. I don't expect it to work like it did while we were doing this, but essentially, as you can see, let me see if I can pause this because I do want to see if you can observe the layout here. But essentially what it is I have Dao-chan here in the middle. She's going to be boosting, of course, everything up. But here on the side, as you can see, I have Elder, and he's facing that way, along with, I know, yeah, so Aelin is there, but right behind is Nyx. So she's going to be the one that's doing the AoE damage on this side with Elder. And then this side here, I have Iwer and Ardea here as being the ones that are taking care of this side here. All right. But in terms of laying out the support here, as you can see here, I have Erlis and Aelin coming down. And then here I have Fercy facing down. So she is directing this stuff down here. So the key here is to then put King Hearth in the middle by providing all the support around him with Sadie, Aelin, Fercy, and Erlis. Because the main crucial goal for this composition here was to keep King Hearth alive. That was my task. We ran this 4 times, and we just at some point we saw no, there's a limitation here. So even with this part here put together, it was really hard to keep him alive. And then of course, I think this side was being taken care of pretty well, but here it was a little bit of a struggle for Ardea and Iobar to try to keep this stuff contained. So you can kind of see the waves kind of leaking over into the boss. So then of course the boss gains extra attributes, extra stats. He hurts more. The composition doesn't survive as much. So yeah, so this was kind of the run. This is exactly what happened when we were doing it live and we were trying to slow things down just to see that focus strike on King Hearth, and we're just trying to keep him alive with Sadie, or activating the ultimate by Aelin and then switch over to Erlis, and it's just keeping back and forth trying to keep that alive. So at least for this account at 15,000, we will take it. All right, but definitely it is something that I can improve on if I get other heroes added to the account, especially those that are excelling well in this form. But that's kind of the overview that I can give you, at least from my account, and the type of heroes that I decided to use for each one of the forms, and at least for my purposes, get to the second chest. Yes, we'll try to work to push into the third one and fourth one, but again, like I said, there are some limitations right now, especially how the boss has been created. So not everybody's going to expect to get to 320 anytime soon, especially with the two limits, the limits here of having only 2 keys. So, hey, the end goal was help the guild take it down. Hey, I got 1 transmutation gem out of it. We'll call that a win. At least we got something out of it. So we'll keep trying to improve on. Hopefully that kind of gives you an idea of something that you may possibly put together with the roster that you might have in your account. And at least, you know, with how things were lined up, maybe that gives you an idea to try to boost the damage. I'm going to tell you right now that most accounts, I do think, especially ones that are at this end game stage, if you can work to at least get to that 35,000 mark on the magic side, or in the Bulwark mode, and then in the Spellbane, just try to get that 5,000 and then you get the 40,000. I think that that's probably the best way to approach it right now. Unless you have everything A5 and you have all the heroes in the game, you can probably then start pushing 100, 120. And I think that they'll do very well, especially if you are an ultra endgame player. All right, hope that helped you all. Thank you all very much for tuning in and watching. I will see you all in the next video.